to Sound Healing Sundays. Thank you for joining me this evening. I hope that you are well rested. If you can grab your mat, get comfortable, find a quiet space, and join me in this discussion, in this meditation this evening. Tonight I wanted to talk a little bit about shame, and so I have a little story that goes along with it. Because I want to do a release of shame. And so, backstory to that. Last week's live, someone had put in the comments, which, and I had kind of giggled to myself, and it was just kind of like, finally had that moment of exhale of releasing that judgment, that shame of being perceived or misjudged or criticized and things like that for spiritual beliefs and spiritual practices that on the surface I haven't said anything spiritually. However, some of the practices that we engage in for meditative practices are seen or are deemed as demonic or spiritual. So it just gets really convoluted. And so when the comment came up, I just kind of giggled at it. And the backstory behind that shame is I don't really know my grandparents, and I never met them. They had all passed away before I was born, except for one. Briefly, I was probably maybe 3 years old, so I didn't really have much contact with my grandparents. However, on my paternal side, there was a sense of connection with my paternal grandmother, in a sense of just a lot of similarities between us. I had a lot of connection to a lot of cultural background that she experienced, and I felt very highly of her as an educator and just a resilient woman. And my aunt would actually contact me and tell me, hey, your grandmother told me to tell you this. And, so there was some kind of spiritual contact and some connection that reinforced my belief that there was some connection that, even though I hadn't met her, I felt connected. And so with my maternal grandmother, there wasn't much information that I had about her. I've only seen maybe one or two pictures of my maternal grandmother, and the only things that I knew about her is that she had struggled with mental illness. And so there was parts of me that pushed that part away because there was shame behind just kind of having that experience of knowing my grandmother was in and out of mental health institutions. And so when I decided to dive deeper into that and to kind of release that shame, because I work in the mental health field anyway, right? And so a lot of what drew me to the mental health field was just trying to get a better understanding of course, my family too, but myself, my environment. I was just very curious about people and human beings and the social constructs and just the psychology of the world. And so I've always just been drawn to it. And so when I decided to dive deeper into that ancestral pathway of my grandmother, a lot of what I learned is that she had a lot of foresight. A lot of what she was saying and what she was deemed as mentally ill for was just a lot of foresight about a lot of what we see today. A lot of, how people, conspiracy theorists, you're starting to see some stuff that make you go, She was one of those people that just had a lot of opinions that, just opinionated black woman, and she was seen as crazy. And of course, a lot of what she said came into fruition. So it's like, well, was she crazy or did she have a lot of intuition? But still, besides the point, it was a lot of shame behind not really connecting as much with that because I didn't want to see myself as struggling with mental illness in the same ways because of things that I had experienced. And so struggling with insomnia was a big part of my childhood, and even I struggle with it off and on now in my adulthood, with sleep paralysis, with having dreams that come into fruition. I'm like deja vu, experiencing things, like seeing things, just synchronicities, weird, just things like that had occurred that I just never vocalized because I didn't want to be seen as weird or odd, or, you know what I mean, or trying to cause attention or make attention. And so I just kept those types of things to myself and never really connected with that side of my maternal family. And so I actually had that conversation with my health coach recently about really releasing that shame and kind of embracing more of my intuition and just more of my discernment, and me being more vocal about what my gifts and talents are outside of just being a therapist. I actually do Reiki, and I'm getting my yoga certification and breathwork certification and all other things that I'm interested in other than the clinical side of healing, because of that spiritual shame. And I do have a Christian background, and so it almost felt like you had to decide, or you couldn't be vocal or accept or embrace both publicly without one contradicting the other. And I had to learn, and I have learned in this journey, to embrace both. And I am a very eclectic spiritual person, and I think that's important to vocalize with the clientele that you're working with, because I feel like your clientele, it's important to them to know who they're working with, and I want my clientele to know that I support their spiritual beliefs and practices as well, and that I'm very inclusive. And so with that, I want people to know that this is a very non-denominational practice, and it doesn't have anything to do with witchcraft or any spiritual practice. This is all based in emotional regulation skills for your nervous system. And there's scientific research and support behind it. And so, spiritual background aside, I released that shame, and that's why I gave the preface of, when he called me a witch, I kind of giggled, because it was like, Actually, I'm excited to embrace this side a little bit more vocally, more openly. Even on the intuitive side, even on the spiritual side, I want to be more open with my community about what I do. That is the reason why I bring this up. I will be practicing my Reiki starting in October. And so more information will be coming soon. I know people have asked about that in the Chicagoland area, about me offering the Reiki. And so you can see that coming soon, coming in October 2025. So I wanted to share that story to talk about my own personal experience with releasing that shame of, I know people are going to, especially religious people, are going to look at some of what I do and say in my spiritual practices and my beliefs as demonic or antichrist or anti-religious. And I just want to denounce that spirituality is in everything, and God is in everything. And my practice is to lead with love. And whatever that looks like, I embrace any and all being people that want to be embraced with love and acceptance and grace and healing. And so that is what this space is about. And so I don't debate the negativity. I'll just say that. I'll embrace this journey openly, and just, if there's any negativity that comes with it, I will politely just go ahead and dismiss it and just leave it alone. But I wanted to release that shame of, like, I am very much a spiritual person, a very positive person, and I do have a lot of different beliefs, but a lot of my beliefs are rooted in love. And so I hope to share that back to the community, and that's what I wanted to say on that. So I just thought that was a giggle to myself. So for today's journal prompt, note down all the things that you are good at, even the humblest of things. Write down all the things you are good at, And when you feel that bubble of shame or question or doubt come up, go ahead and squash that doubt. Replace it with something more positive and continue your list of all the things that you are positive and great at and good at and that you excel at. And just remark in that list and reflect on how you felt after you finished that list. Okay? I'll give you about 5 minutes to go ahead and complete that. I can tell you a few of mine as I release the shame behind my intuition and my foresight. I'm a good listener, good problem solver. I'm a good cook, a good host. I'm actually a good entertainer. I'm a good therapist, a good friend, a good mentor, a good stylist. I don't be dressing for y'all. You gotta catch me on TikTok or Snapchat or something. Making people laugh when I'm not, being serious. I'm a good travel buddy, but solo these days because right now gotta get my mind right. There's so many more. There's so much more. But I hope you have a good list of positive things to say about yourself. I hope that gave you some ideas. And do that often. Do that list often. So if you want to go ahead and get comfortable, relax, get on your mat, I'll go ahead and get started. healing fam, that is the end of our meditation this evening. If you want to go ahead and go gently wiggle your toes, wiggle your legs, get a good stretch, come back with us. You can get up at your own leisure. I appreciate you being here this evening with me. Again, I am here every Sunday at 8 p.m. live doing the sound bath sound healing sessions. You can always like, share, subscribe. I do this every week. And again, I have the Healing That Heal every Thursdays as well. Again, I appreciate you being here this evening. I hope you enjoyed. The light that is within me sees the light that is within you. Namaste. Have a good evening.